So we were discussing about the process of oncogenesis, the process in which our normal body cells transform themselves into cancerous cells. See, cancer cells do not come from outside. It is our own body cells which transform themselves into cancerous cells. Point is, what is responsible? So gene mutations are responsible for this process because there are genes which regulate cell cycle. They regulate the growth, the differentiation, and the division of the cells that is been regulated by the genes. So when such genes, cluster of 8 to 10 genes, when they go mutation in a simultaneous manner, then it will initiate the process of oncogenesis, which will be further promoted and further progressed, and finally it will end up with developing cancerous cell growth over there. As a new type of cell growth is taking place, it is also called as neoplastic transformation. And the ultimate factor which is behind this is gene mutations, genes which control the cell division, cell growth, cell differentiation. Their changes, unwanted, harmful changes, will lead to the cancer. Simple as that. Now, somebody had a question on this, so you may please ask now. Unmute and ask. Who was the one having question? Ask, Priya. What's your question?
Yes, so I was just asking that is there any specific factor that it converts into like gene mutation? Like what happens specifically?
Means?
You said the gene mutation helps in the functioning of normal cells.
No, I'd never said that gene mutation helps in functioning of normal cells. No, I didn't say so. I said that every aspect in the life of a cell, such as its growth, its differentiation, and its division, it is entirely controlled by series of genes. Now, if these genes which are regulating these phenomena, if they suffer mutation, means alteration in their information because of the carcinogenic compounds, it can happen. Then these phenomena get unregulated, out of control, such as a cell division, growth, etc. That leads to the changes in the cells and converts these cells from normal to a new form of cells, which is called neoplastic cells. These are known as cancerous cells now. Now you ask a question. This is
No, sir,
what I
now
said.
it's clear.
Okay, fine. So, and you see, these are the main areas of intense research. Presently, the research is going on regarding these aspects only. They are trying to understand the development of cancer, the oncogenic transformation of cells. So they are trying to understand the oncogenesis, what is responsible for this thing, exactly how this thing happens. If you know the things, how they happen, you can control them, you can stop them from occurring. So first of all, though, they are trying to understand the mechanism, that how come the carcinogens lead to the gene mutations, and those changes finally end up with transforming the normal cells into cancerous cells. So that is what they are trying to understand. Not only that, but its treatment. As I mentioned, the purpose of entire study is to have a treatment. So if you know how it happens, then you can know how to stop it. So treatment is possible. Then what is possible is this. I mean, possible means another area of intense study is its control. How can you take some measures by which it never happens in your body, the development of cancer? So a lot of research is going on, but main areas of research regarding the cancer are this one: the oncogenic transformation study, treatment study, and the control related research is carried out. That was an introduction of cancer. What is the difference between our normal cells of the body and the cancerous cells of the body? What is a common phenomenon, by the way, between them? Both of them belong to the body. Both are the types of cells which belong to the body. But why are we considering them as the harmful? Why we feel that cancer is a harmful growth? Reasons are enlisted, and it is in the form of their characteristic, their features, which make the cancerous cells harmful in our body. First of all, a normal cell will have a control over cell division. It will allow the cells to divide only as and when required with the help of those cyclins and CDKs. It will have a control over the cell cycle. Such control over the cell cycle and cell division is lost in cancer cells. Cancer cells, they are the same normal cells which have gone through gene mutations and oncogenic transformation and turn into cancer cells now. They divide in an uncontrolled manner. They keep dividing, keep dividing. Constant division is their important feature over there. Second, they do not differentiate. Somebody might say that what is wrong if the cells are dividing and increasing in number? What is wrong? Well, unwantedly dividing cells are always harmful. Top of that, they don't differentiate. So even if they divide and make large number of cells, they are useless fellows. They don't perform any function because they are not a part of any tissue, because they are never going to get differentiated. In a normal course, when cells divide, after the division, they transform into a specific type of cells: epithelial cell, connective tissue cell, nervous tissue cell, muscle cell. It will perform some function in the body. It will contribute into the body activities. What is the contribution of the cancer cells? Nothing. It is not going to perform any function because it is never getting differentiated. It will just keep behaving as constantly dividing, proliferating stem cell type of nature it will acquire. So that is the problem with the cancerous cells. You know, if they keep dividing and not contributing into the body activity, then they are burden on the body. They are harmful in that sense. Achha, their uh, growth is a determinate phenomenon. A cell can grow up to a certain stage. Their growth is indeterminate. They don't have a limitation up to which they can grow. Compared to the normal cells, they can keep growing and acquire even a larger size, and shapes can also be different than the normal cells. Normal cell के compare में उनका shape and size different होता है, variations आ जाते हैं. Because they are actively dividing cells, their nucleus is also larger than the normal cells. And ultimately, what is wrong if some extra cells are there in the body? So what? The problem is that they will starve our cells. Starve means, to starve means, what is the meaning of the term to starve? Starvation का मीनिंग क्या होता है? Deprive someone from getting the nutrition, isn't it? That is starvation. खाना नहीं मिलना, किसी को nutrients नहीं मिलना, that is the starvation. So when they grow in a region, in a given region, what they do is, actually they have a very high metabolic rate. Why they have a high metabolic rate? Because they are constantly dividing cells. So let's say that these are the normal cells. And here are the cancerous cells. These are the normal cells. These are the cancerous cells. Now they secrete certain factors by which the blood supply increases, the capillary formation will increase, and the blood supply will increase more towards them only. So they will derive all the nutrients towards themselves because they are hyperactive, metabolically very active. They are constantly growing, constantly dividing cells. So their needs are higher. So they drive all the nutrients towards themselves. So the remaining cells, they will be deprived of nutrients. In this competition, they will gradually start dying over there because they are now not getting the nutrients. When there's normal body cells performing our normal functions, when their number declines. So in a way, wait a minute, I made by mistake, I could. In a way, their growth is increasing and other tissues growth is declining. Functions are affected in a way. So this kind of competition in which cancer cells always win because of their capacity of higher metabolism, constant division and growth, higher requirement of nutrients, and capacity to increase the blood flow towards them. By secreting certain factors, they can increase the capillary network towards them. And that will lead to the death of other surrounding tissues over there, which are performing normal functions over there. They get killed over there. So if someone thinks that what is wrong if we have few extra cells in our body, how is it gonna be harmful? Well, it is actually causing harm to our normal cells of the body. And in that competition, our normal tissue functions are destroyed, disturbed. This finally leads to death of the individual. Is this clear or no? Student has asked question. I guess Noor was the one, if I'm not wrong. Just confirm, Noor, if you have a question, you unmute and ask. बोलिए, आपको क्या डाउट है?
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, I had a question. Is it related to deficiency of vitamins? Because I have read somewhere deficiency B7 vitamin is associated with cancer.
See, in general, the vitamin deficiencies don't lead to cancer directly, but yes, they can have an indirect influence over the cancer because certain vitamin deficiency can disturb the cell cycles, and that might become the cause for the arising of such scenario. So as such, though specifically, like a particular vitamin deficiency, it will cause particular disease, but not the cancer at least. D deficiency will cause rickets, C deficiency will cause scurvy, A deficiency will cause night blindness, and so on and so forth. Various B series vitamins also. I think for each
Yes,
one's deficiency, there are certain diseases that is known. But directly, a vitamin deficiency and that will lead to cancer directly, that's not the case because majority of the individuals on the earth are suffering from vitamin deficiency of one or the other kind. So every second third person will have some sort of a cancer. So that is not the case, but of course I agree with the fact that when certain vitamins, more than one vitamins, may not be available, and that might lead to some kind of drastic changes in the body, it might be a trigger for the cancerous growth. It is a possible. So there is a remote indirect possibility, but no direct impact of the vitamin deficiency on the cancer. Okay. However, whatever you have gone through that material, if you can provide a glimpse of that, I would go through and inform you people if it is so. Okay.
yes, sir.
So coming back to our topic of cancerous cells and their properties, that number one, they have uncontrolled cell division. Yes, the genes which controlled cell division, they have been mutated, and this is the status now. Number two, they are not differentiating themselves into any specific tissue cells, so no function to be performed by them. Indeterminate growth, their growth is unlimited. They have a larger sized nucleus, hyperactive nucleus, because they are constantly dividing. Their chromosome numbers are also abnormal. Their size and shape, the shape, particularly the surface features on their surface, they produce certain receptors and proteins which are not to be found in a normal cell. So that becomes the signal that the given cell has been converted into a cancerous cell. It is the same signals that the natural killer cells look for to identify the via this cancer cells and destroy them. And they have a high rate of metabolism. Yes, hyperactive cells, because constantly dividing and growing. And because they can generate higher blood flow towards them, they can direct higher blood flow towards them. They direct all the nutrients towards themselves and continue to grow. And in the process, normal cells of the body remain deprived of, deficient of the nutrients, and that might kill them. The normal body cells, they will be killed in this competition. That is the harmful effect of the cancerous cells. Okay, any doubt up to this point? One important property that has been lost by the cancerous cells, which is called as contact inhibition phenomenon, that is one of the major factor behind the cancerous growth. Let me explain this property. Let's say that this is the cell mass in a normal tissue. You see these cells and compare them with the other cells. All those which are encircled with the red color, what is the speciality of there compared to this outer circle? This is outer circle and this is inner one. How are they different, the outer and inner? Can you make out that from the appearance? Can you make out that difference? The cells which are there in the inner circle, from all sides, they are in contact with the other cells of the tissue. They experience a phenomenon which is called as contact inhibition. As per this phenomenon, if the cell is having contact with the other cells from all the direction, those cells will not divide any further. This arrangement where they remain in contact with the other cells from all directions doesn't allow them to divide further. This is the property called as contact inhibition property. Outer cells can still divide and grow. These ones I'm talking about. Because still their one side surfaces are open. But these ones at least won't be able to divide further because they have established contact with the other cells from all directions. This is called as contact inhibition property. This property gets lost in case of cancer cells. Cancer cells do not have this property. Have a look. This is about the normal cells. E-cadherin, a kind of a protein which is helpful in maintaining the cell junctions, tight junctions between the cells. As long as these junctions are there, the cells will be able to grow in a single layer only. But the cancerous cells where mutation has happened, E-cadherin is not formed. Look at these cells when they start dividing, they can make up they can pile up these cell layers over there. So then the things go out of control. The disrupted cell division, cell to cell adhesion is disrupted. So there is no contact inhibition in them. This allows them to make layers of cells one above the other. Uncontrolled cell division will be carried out over here. This phenomenon is called as contact inhibition. Here the cells are maintaining cell to cell contact due to the tight junctions. Controlled cell division. Here cells have lost that tight junctions. So cells are not maintaining that contact inhibition with each other. And this allows the cells to go for an uncontrolled cell division over there. अगर किसी बॉडी सेल्स को निकाल के अगर स्टडी किया जाए whether they are cancerous cells or normal cells, तो सिर्फ इतना करना है कि उन सेल्स का एक छोटा सा लेयर प्रिपेयर करना है, बॉडी में से निकाल के छोटा सा लेयर प्रिपेयर करना and give them materials which will promote the cell division in them. After some times when they grow, if they form single layer of cells in the petri dish, that shows that they have maintained that contact inhibition property, which will allow them to grow or divide rather in a controlled manner in a single layer. But if the cells that you have taken out from the body for the study, and if you allow them to proliferate in the petri dish, you can see that they will be forming, rather than single layer, they will be forming piled up cluster of cells. This is an indicator that they have lost contact inhibition. अगर contact inhibition होता तो they would grow and make a single layer of cells after the proliferation. If they don't have the contact inhibition, they can make piled up layers of cells. This is the contact inhibition aspects. Have you studied this? Have you understood this rather? If you have any question on these properties of cancerous cells, you can ask a question on the same. Yes, no question from your side? Okay. So today we discussed a brief introduction was there regarding the cancer, one of the most dreaded disease all over the globe, uh, causing maximum number of deaths in the list and the chart of the top 3 dreaded disease, lethal diseases. It is the one. Which aspects of the cancer are the matter of intense areas of research in the field of biology and medicine? Maximum research is carried out. In which fields they are related with which aspects of cancer? Yes, the oncogenic transformation of the cells, that's the one. Two, the treatment part of the cancer. What are the different chemicals and medicines and radiations and therapies that can help in treatment of cancer? We are trying to focus upon that also. And also researching how to control the cancer in body in advance. Even nanotechnology is put in use for detection and killing of cancerous cells in our body. That is also under research. Which aspects of the cell cycle and cell life are highly controlled and regulated in our body? Which aspects of the cell life are highly regulated and controlled aspects? The cell division. The cell division is the one. Number 2, other than cell division, the cell differentiation and cell growth. Yes, cell growth, cell differentiation, and cell division. Highly controlled and regulated, and it is done with the help of genes. Okay. But what is responsible for disturbance of this regulatory mechanism? What causes gene mutations? Yes, they disturb this entire regulation and control, breakdown of this regulatory mechanism, and that will lead to what is called as oncogenesis, the process in which with initiation, with promotion and progression, by these 3 steps, the normal cells of the body finally transform into cancerous cells. What are the properties of cancerous cells? If I ask you to unlist, the list of the properties that is given to you, if I ask you to go through those properties, number 1, yes, uncontrolled cell division, not rapid cell division. Speed is not an issue here. The issue is unwantedly, uncontrolled manner, continuous division of cell is the issue or a problem here. Other than that, indeterminate growth, undifferentiated level, large size nucleus, high rate of metabolism, yes. Shape and size do not match with the normal body cells in the same tissue where other body cells are of a particular shape and size. Their shape and size are totally different. Their surface proteins, their surface receptors, their surface features are also different. And yes, they have a absence of contact inhibition phenomenon, a phenomenon which keeps the cells in control during the cell division. That those cells which are surrounded by the cells from all directions, they don't have a power to divide. That is called phenomenon of contact inhibition. But that property gets lost. So they lose the contact with each other, and each cell becomes capable of dividing constantly. So enormous excessive cell division. And yeah, they compete with the normal body cells, starve them of nutrients, and become the reason for the death and deprivation and death of the normal body cells. Because normal body cells perform their functions, they are killed, and these unwantedly growing cells, they are flourishing. That is the problem regarding the cancer. Just to have few extra cells in the body is not an issue. The issue is different. Their presence causes death of our normal body cells. Their body organ functions are disturbed. That is the problem regarding the cancer cells. And they also secrete certain factors, which increase the blood capillary networks and blood supply towards themselves. These are the properties of cancerous cells. The remaining things we'll see in the next lecture. Madam, please stop the recording now.